Welcome to Events and Conference Services Club Recharge presentation. We are pleased to have you join our training session. Events and Conference Services at Rutgers University, Newark oversees the reservations and operations of the event spaces in the Paul Robeson Campus Center, Ruth Bader Ginsburg Hall, and Express Newark. Our office serves as a catalyst for the campus community social, cultural, educational, and recreational activities. During this presentation, you will meet our team, learn about the reservation timeline and event lifecycle, and about important policies and procedures for our office. Events and Conference Services has 6 full-time staff members and 50 student staff members. Director Ben Ricardo and Assistant Director Talisha Johnson lead a dedicated team of event professionals. Our administrative coordinator, Joyce Beakley, will be your first point of contact for our office. As you make your new reservation request, Joyce and her team of student specialists will process your request. Monica Coleman and Camille Pride are our assistant managers of event services. On your reservations, they are listed as the salesperson. Once they've been assigned to your event, they will be your primary point of contact for your event. Please work directly with them to confirm all details of your reservation. Finally, last but not least, Andrew Fishman. Andrew is our assistant manager of event services, operations side. Andrew and his team are responsible for the setup, execution, and operation of your event. Mainly, you'll be working with him on the day of your event. Together, our team has nearly 100 years of combined experience in events. Whatever you've got in mind, we've been there and done that, and can offer guidance and advice on hosting an amazing event. To ensure a focused discussion, the following key topics will be addressed. Request timeline, communications with our office, catering, required documentation, painting events and cleanup, bake sales and tabling. Think about what items are most important to you from this list. What would you like to get out of this training? What questions do you have? At the end of the training, if anything hasn't been answered, please let us know. The reservation process starts in our virtual EMS portal. Each student organization has a unique login for the system. Logins are emailed to your student organization's email address on file with the Office of Student Life and Leadership at the beginning of each semester. If you do not receive a login, have trouble signing in, or forget your login later in the semester, please email your OSLL advisor. Once logged into the system, please select either the ECS student org room reservation request for event spaces in PRCC, RBG Hall, or Express Newark, or the PRCC student org table reservation request for all contact tabling on Student Street in PRCC and on the Norman Samuels Plaza. The reservation request process takes a minimum of 10 business days. This includes 5 days for the advisor approval and 5 days to be approved by our office. And that all assumes that all information is present, accurate, and clear, and that all responses are direct and prompt. Please plan for enough time to move through this process. Let's start with the reservation timeline. The reservation process starts with the meeting with your advisor. Once you've met with your advisor, followed all policies outlined by the Office of Student Life and Leadership, your next step will be our virtual EMS portal. Once you've submitted your request, it is sent to your advisor and given the status of pending advisor approval. It is important to note that your advisor is only approving the event as a conceptual idea. They're not approving the space. Our spaces must only be approved by our office. It can take up to 5 business days, not including weekends or holidays, to review and approve your request. Our office will not see your request until it is given the status of pending department approval. Our office will also not know the status of your request until it has been approved by your advisor. Your advisor will either approve your event, giving it the status of pending department approval, or they will deny your request, giving it the status of denied by advisor. In cases of denied by advisor, you will need to contact your advisor for additional information as our office will not know why the event was denied. Once your event has a status of pending department approval, our office will review your request. It may take up to an additional 5 business days to process. At this point, a salesperson will be assigned to your event and will serve as the primary point of contact between your organization and our office. While we try our best to keep the same salesperson with the same organization, it may not always be possible. Please be sure to check your on hold notification email for the name of your salesperson. If upon initial review by our office it is determined that we are unable to approve your event, it will receive the status of denied by department and an explanatory email will be sent to your organization. While we make every effort to accommodate as many events as possible, we may not always be able to support every request that comes into our office. Please remember that every request is just that, a request. Do not advertise your event, book speakers, engage in services for vendors until you have received a confirmation document from our office. After your event is placed on hold, a salesperson will contact you requesting a meeting in person, over the phone, or via Zoom. They may also ask you additional questions in their email to you. There are many different reasons that we may need to meet with your organization. Some of them may be we need information about your setup, we need information about food, vendor information. Please be sure to follow up with your salesperson if any details that were discussed during this meeting change. Remember, the sooner you respond, the sooner your event can be finalized and confirmed. Once the on-hold process is complete, your event can be confirmed. When all details of your event have been confirmed, your organization will receive a copy of the confirmation document via email from our office. Please note that once your event is confirmed in our system, we assume that all information and details are accurate and complete. If something happens to change with your event, please contact our office. Once confirmed, you can advertise, send invitations, book speakers or performers, and pay for other services. Do not engage in any of these activities or services until your event is confirmed. The Office of Events and Conference Services will not be responsible for any penalties levied against your organization by vendors should the event be denied or canceled. Here are a few quick tips that are helpful when moving your event through our reservations process. Include as much information as possible. Book a series under only one reservation. Do not leave any questions blank or to be determined. Designate one single person as a point of contact for all of your events. Book space early and don't wait.
Contact tables are available on Student Street in the Paul Robeson Campus Center or on the Normal Samuels Plaza. Tabling reservations may not be transferred to another organization, and groups may not relocate their table to another location or take another tabling location that was not previously assigned to them by the events office. Email is the best way to ensure there is a written record of communication with our office. All information from a phone call, in-person meeting, or video conference will be followed up in writing. Some requests, such as canceling an event, can only be made in writing and will not be accepted in any other way. Events that have a painting component are only permitted in spaces without carpet. This includes the Dance Theater in PRCC, Room 123 in RBG Hall, and the workshops in Express Newark. Tables for painting events must be covered with a protective covering. We do not hold a stock of linens. In most circumstances, it is much simpler to rent your linens through your caterer. However, for events without food, our office can secure linen rentals for your organization. Furniture in event spaces, common areas, hallways, lounges, and so forth cannot be removed for the space. If you need setups, changed, or furniture moved, please contact a member of our staff or assistants. However, please note that this would be for small requests only. Same-day setup changes of any non-trivial amount will be charged staffing fees and is not guaranteed. All equipment rentals for stages, dance floors, drapery, lighting, speakers, microphones, projectors, and so on must be rented through our office. Organizations are not permitted to contract with AV, production, or event rental companies on their own. The only exception to this is DJs. Organizations can contract with DJs, however, DJs are never permitted to connect to our built-in systems, and DJs must keep all volume levels under 90 dB. Additional exceptions are granted on a case-by-case basis by the director of the events office. Security requirements are set by RUPD and the Office of Emergency Management. There could be many reasons why security may be required for your event, some of which are listed here. Your salesperson will work with you to help you with this process. RUPD and security are charged on a 4-hour minimum. Whether you need them for 1 hour or 4, your organization will be charged for hours. Each additional hour above 4 is charged by the hour at the rates listed on the screen. Security must be present from at least 1/2 hour before the start of your event until at least 1/2 hour after the end of your event. Gourmet Dining is the exclusive caterer for the Paul Robeson Campus Center and Clements Place, and is the preferred caterer for RBG Hall and Express Newark. As with any vendor, if you are using any other caterer, you must send our office a copy of their current certificate of liability insurance. If you're interested in using a caterer in PRCC other than Gourmet Dining, you must speak with GDS directly to ask about a waiver. Waivers will not be granted if the request is made with less than 72 hours notice. Waivers will also not be granted if GDS can fulfill the needs of the event. If GDS denies the waiver request, your organization must either use GDS for the food or you may not have food at all. If you are caught serving food in PRCC without using GDS or without a waiver, your event will be shut down and your reservation privileges will be suspended. Potluck style meals or other home cooked meals are not permitted. Food must have insurance attached to it. You may serve prepackaged snacks, and bottled drinks without using GDS in PRCC. However, if you are serving branded bottled beverages, only Coke products may be served. Depending on the nature and scope of your event, several different types of documents may be required before your event is confirmed. If you are working with any vendor providing a service on the RUN campus, they must provide a copy of their certificate of liability insurance showing a general limited liability policy of at least $2 million and must have Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, listed as an additionally insured party. CLIs are only valid for the current calendar year. We cannot accept CLIs from a previous calendar year. If you are working with an outside caterer, you will also need to provide a copy of their health certificate. All rentals for tables, chairs, stages, drapery, audiovisual equipment, and other production-related equipment must be secured through the events and conference services. An equipment waiver will be required for any personal equipment brought into our spaces. You must provide a complete list of equipment any vendor is bringing, along with information on when the equipment will arrive, where it will be set up, who will be responsible for it on site, and when it will be picked up. You must coordinate drop-off and pick-up times between the vendor and our office. Open flames are not permitted at any time. The only exception to this is sterno cups provided by a caterer used to warm chafing dishes. Sterno cups cannot ever be left unattended. Decorations must be freestanding and cannot be attached to walls, doors, and so on. Glitter, confetti, sand, or any other small particle item are not permitted. Additional cleanup fees and penalties will be assessed if this policy is violated. Windows and doorways may not be covered under any circumstances. Signage of any kind, including room signs, information signs, exit signs, cannot be blocked or covered. Any painted decorations must be completely dry before entering the building. Balloons must be removed after your event. Any helium balloon that is released in the Essex Room, Great Hall, or Lecture Hall will be assessed a balloon retrieval fee. Fees start at $200. Trash must be placed into garbage cans. If garbage cans are missing or full, it is your responsibility to contact a member of our team or custodial staff. Additional fees may be assessed if the space is left a mess. Movie screenings, watch parties, movie nights, and so on are permitted, provided your organization obtains proper licensing rights. Simply having a Netflix account is not sufficient licensing permission. You must work with your advisor to obtain appropriate licensing. This is not something our office can assist with. The only exception is viewing the news or other publicly broadcasted live events that have already laid out licensing agreements, such as the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the presidential inauguration. However, these must be broadcast and viewed live. If there are any questions about this, please discuss with your advisor. Events can be confirmed without the licensing information, but access to the AV systems will not be allowed until proof of licensing is given to our office. Movie, film, or TV showings must clearly identify the sponsoring organization, the name of the film, movie, show, and the movie TV rating in all advertisements and promotional efforts. As a note, items checked out from the Dana Library or other library systems do not automatically come with a license for public showings. Student organizations may engage in fundraising efforts with food products for tabling reservations. All food items must be pre-approved by OSLL. Non-baked goods must be prepackaged and sealed by the manufacturer. Items that require temperature control, whether heating or cooling, are not permitted. Packaged items must be marked for resale. All items must be clearly labeled with the ingredients contained in each item. Baked goods must be prepared by and sourced from a food service establishment that can provide a certificate of limited liability insurance. Homemade items are not permitted. Food items cannot contain any potentially hazardous ingredients, including but not limited to dairy, wheat, gluten, nuts, honey, etc., without appropriate labeling and notification of allergens. If you are expecting elected officials, whether as guests or as presenter speakers, you must notify the Vice Chancellor for Governmental Affairs. If you are expecting members of the press to attend, cover your event, you must contact the Rutgers Newark Office of Communications. Their email addresses are supplied here. Each building has their own distinct operating hours. The hours are listed here, but can also be found on our website. In the Campus Center and Express Newark, event groups may obtain permission to hold their events outside of building hours, but additional staffing fees will apply. However, as RBG Hall is a residence hall, building hours are fixed and cannot be extended. Ruth Bader Ginsburg Hall is open Sunday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. These end times represent the time at which your event must be over and your event guest gone and out of the building. There are no exceptions to this. RBG Hall is a residence hall, and as such, we must respect those who live in the building. Should your event go past these hard end times, you will be assessed security, custodial, and event staff fees, and your event reservation privileges may be suspended, and any upcoming events in RBG Hall will be canceled. For all events, a sober representative from your organization must be present until after your final event guest or vendor leaves. You will be required to ensure your guests leave on time. If RUPD is required to clear the space, you will be assessed additional charges and fees. Amplified sound is classified into two types: intermittent and continuous. Intermittently amplified sound is any audio that is made at irregular intervals. Examples would include a single speech or an audio recording less than 3 minutes in length. Gaps between speeches or recordings must be 10 minutes or longer. Continuously amplified sound is any audio that is made at regular or sustained intervals. Examples would include DJs playing music, a concert or performance, or recordings longer than 3 minutes in length, or recordings that are played back to back with fewer than 10 minutes between playback. Continuously amplified sound is permitted on Student Street during free period only. Permission must be obtained before your event. Any groups using amplified sound outside of these times or without pre-approval will have their tabling event shut down and may have future reservations canceled. Continuously amplified sound is permitted on the Normiel Samuels Plaza during free periods on weekdays from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. and on weekends from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. On weekdays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., continuously amplified sound may be permitted at a significantly reduced decibel level. Approval is required from the events office. Intermittently amplified sound may be permitted at other times on Student Street and the plaza. Authorization is granted on a case-by-case basis by the director of the events office. One of the most important notes for RBG is that the Great Hall does not have any audiovisual equipment. For events taking place in the Great Hall, be sure to budget for these rental costs. All Great Hall events require at least 2 security guards and will be assessed a flat fee of $300 for custodial services. Clements Place may be requested by student organizations, but approval is required from the Institute of Jazz Studies. Your salesperson will reach out on your behalf for permission. Organizations should not contact IJS directly. Undergraduate organizations are not permitted to serve alcohol in Clements. However, you can use the bar area to serve other beverages or even food. If organizations want to use the bar area, you must use the IJS bartenders. For food, must be provided by gourmet dining. All events in Clements must have a member of the ECS staff present during the entire event. Please contact our office for the appropriate reservation forms. Express Newark is a community-oriented third space. This means that all events held in Express Newark must follow the model they have set. They must be community-based, either as a community service event or an event that involves members of the community or brings community awareness of specific issues affecting the residents of Newark. Events may also be centered around the arts and the role it has in society and how arts can influence social change. Authorization to use Express Newark will be sought on your behalf by your salesperson. Organizations that have an account through the university will have their funds automatically withdrawn from their account. An invoice will be sent to your organization for verification of charges, and student life accounting will be copied. Organizations without a university account must pay for their event in full prior to the first event date. Payments can be made via credit card or company check. We cannot accept cash, personal checks, money orders, or cashier's checks. If anything changes during your event that causes changes to your final balance, this must be resolved by the next day following your event. Any billing dispute should be sent to your advisor and the assistant director of the events office. All of our pricing information can be found on our website. Thank you for attending Events and Conference Services Club Recharge presentation. For additional information, please visit our website at go.rutgers.edu/RUN events.